Hey, welcome. So, you're a solopreneur, and the digital world is, well, it's noisy. The big question is, how do you actually cut through all that and connect with your customers? Today, we're going to lay out a blueprint for turning that online noise into real, meaningful relationships that actually grow your business. I want to kick things off with just one number: 28%. Take a look at that for a second. What do you think that represents? It's a pretty jarring number, and honestly, it points directly to the biggest challenge we all face online. And there it is. According to a study from the Nielsen-Norman Group, people only read, on average, 28% of the words on a web page. Isn't that wild? Most of us are just skimming. So if you're pouring hours into your content, you're fighting for just a tiny little slice of someone's attention. Which brings us to the most important question of this entire explainer. How do you make sure your stuff is in that 28%? How do you make every single word, every image, every second actually count? Let's figure it out. All right, so how do we fix this? Well, the first step isn't about being louder than everyone else. It's about being smarter. We have to really get to the bottom of what makes someone stop scrolling in the first place and actually, pay attention. The secret sauce here is creating engaging content. And that's so much more than just good writing. It's content that literally arrests someone's attention because it feels like a conversation. Here's the key. It speaks to you, not at you. That one little difference is everything when it comes to building a real connection and trust. And why does this really matter for your business? Well, the payoff is like a domino effect. When you build those real relationships, your brand's reputation just naturally gets better. And that improved reputation, it drives more traffic, it helps your SEO, and pretty soon, it's what makes you stand out from all your competitors. See? It's not just some soft skill fluff. It's a rock-solid business strategy. Okay, so you did it. You created some awesome content, and you've earned their attention. Now what? You have to guide that attention somewhere. This is the spot where so many people drop the ball. You have to tell your audience exactly what to do next. We are talking about the call to action, or the CTA. Seriously, think of this as the engine of your business. It's that short, punchy phrase that gets your audience to take the next step, whether that's buying something, subscribing, or just learning more. Without a clear CTA, even the world's best content just sits there and goes nowhere. So how do you make a great one? The basics are pretty simple, right? Use strong, action-oriented words and make the buttons stand out. But here's a really cool tip from the research. Writing your CTA in the first person can actually boost clicks by over 40%. Let's look at how some big brands use this little psychological trick. Okay, first up, Chipotle. They don't say get your guac. They say get my guac. It seems like a tiny change, but it's brilliant. It's fun, and it gives you, the user, a sense of ownership before you've even clicked the button. It's a super subtle switch from your to my with a massive psychological impact. Now, let's look at a totally different vibe. Patagonia. Just 2 words, take action. This has nothing to do with buying a product, right? It's about joining a cause. This CTA isn't about a jacket. It's about being part of a movement, which lines up perfectly with what their customers believe in. Its power is all in its authenticity. And what if your goal isn't an immediate sale, but building a relationship? The recruiting software Lever uses Let's Talk. It's not a command like buy now, it's an invitation. This kind of low-pressure conversational CTA is just perfect for getting rid of any friction when a customer might not be ready to commit just yet. So you've got powerful content and a killer call to action. But think about it. A CTA like get my guac would never work for Patagonia's audience. A perfect message aimed at the wrong people is, well, it's just more noise. That's why every single thing we've talked about depends on targeting. And this really shows you just how specific that targeting needs to be. You see, for a local business, your world is Google business profiles and customer reviews. But if your audience is, say, over 50, you're using simpler language and focusing on platforms like Facebook. The core idea, being relevant, being trustworthy, that's always the same. But the way you do it has to be perfectly tailored to your specific audience. All right, now we get to the fun part, the accelerator. You've got the strategy down. But as a solopreneur, your most valuable resource is time. This is where modern tools can help you execute everything we've talked about without having to sacrifice any quality. Let's talk about AI, things like ChatGPT. The absolute key here is to think of it as your creative partner, not your replacement. It is fantastic for organizing your thoughts, for getting a first draft on paper. But the magic, the part that actually connects with a human being, that has to come from you. Your stories, your unique point of view, your uncopyable perspective. And a great result from AI starts with a great prompt. It's really just a simple 5-step recipe. First, tell it what you want, a blog post, an email, whatever. Then give it all the context, who you are, who you're talking to, and your special angle. Third, give it your SEO keyword. Fourth, describe your brand's voice. And finally, tell it exactly what call to action you want to include. Think of this as your little strategy brief for the AI. And here is the absolute secret ingredient. Look at this. This isn't just an instruction, it's a philosophy. The person writing this prompt isn't just asking for a speech. They are literally injecting their core beliefs about connection and storytelling into the AI's instructions. This is how you go from generic, boring content to something that actually sounds like you. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, right? From the psychology of why people pay attention, all the way to using AI to help you out. So let's pull all of this together into one clear, easy-to-use blueprint. So here it is, the whole blueprint in one place. Think of it as a system. The foundation is your authentic content that talks to people. The mechanism is your CTA that turns attention into action. The application is making sure that action is aimed at the right people. And finally, the accelerator is AI, the tool that helps you do it all faster. See how each part builds on the last? This framework gives you everything you need. It's a complete plan to cut through the noise and build real, lasting connections. All the pieces are right here. The only thing that's missing is your voice. Your audience is out there. They're waiting. So what's the first story you're going to tell?